Hello humanoids, welcome to Halfling Hobbies. I'm Halfling Hannah, and welcome to today's lesson in pedagogy. We're going to be looking at lessons that DMs can learn from teachers, and today specifically we are talking about wait time. Here we go. So what is wait time? Wait time means providing your students with silence and time in which they can process information to have the opportunity to respond. Basically, it means being quiet. And this is something that teachers and DMs struggle with a lot. Even seasoned, veteran, awesome teachers and DMs, they can still struggle with wait time because very few people are comfortable just sitting in silence while someone else thinks. And very few people are comfortable thinking while someone's staring at them in silence. It is something that is truly an art form, and when you learn to master it, you'll find that your combat sessions go a lot quicker, that your players come up with much more creative ideas, and that role play will increase exponentially. Does this sound like a miracle? Well, it kinda is, but it requires a little bit more than just silence. There are some strategies that we need to implement as DMs. So let's talk about some of those. Let's talk about what wait time is not. Wait time is not you standing there talking nervously and continuing to explain something over and over because you're uncomfortable with the silence, then finally thinking and assuming that no one knows what to do, so you provide an NPC or you provide an event or something happens to move them away from that scene that you just described because obviously no one wants to engage with it. This is simply not true. Everyone needs time to process, and everyone has different processing speeds. So that's one of the main things that we need to talk about, processing speeds. So there are two types of processors, fast processors and slow processors. These have nothing to do with intelligence. It simply has to do with how quickly your brain processes new information and provides some response to it. I myself am a very slow processor. My friends have a running joke that I will respond about 10 seconds after everyone else has responded because I simply need some more time to chew on the information that I've been given. However, there are some really fast processors out there. I mean, you know these people. They're the ones who are already responding to your question. They're trying to finish your sentence for you so we can get on to the next sentence because I already know where you're at and I'm with you and here we go. Whew, it makes me tired even pretending to be a fast processor. So how do you provide wait time for both fast and slow processors? Because both of them need wait time. There's a big misconception that fast processors don't need wait time because they've already thought through everything and they have their ideas in their mind. However, a downfall of fast processing is that they don't listen to details and they often get them wrong. This leads to those situations where your player tries to do something and you have to re-explain how the room is set up because they didn't get it the first time. If you had given them some wait time in order to process the information, look at the map or whatever visual that you've given them, then we could have avoided that re-explanation altogether. For slow processors, this is even more vital because we need the time to actually process the information to respond. Your slow processors are the ones who are going to ask 15 follow-up questions about what you just said because they need clarity in order to respond. They want to understand as much as possible so that they know what they can do. This can frustrate some DMs, but you need to know it's not that they're trying to find a loophole. It's not that they're trying to trip you up. It's that they simply need more information in order to correctly respond. This can be really hard to manage when you have a fast processor who already has the 15 things that they want their character to do in that room, and you have the slow processor who has all of their questions that they need answered. How do you balance both of these and provide both of them the time that they need for that fast processor to fully absorb all of the details and for the slow processor to feel like they have clarity? Here's where some teaching strategies come into play, because guess what? This is exactly what happens in the classroom. You've got that one kid that's like right here, ready to answer the question, and then you've got that other kid in the back that's just giving you deer in the headlights, just staring at you, horrified. These are also fast and slow processors, and so we have strategies for this. Here's what I don't like to see, and I see a lot in the DMing world, in the D&D world, and that is, okay, I'm going to let this person who's ready to go, I'm going to let them go first, and you, slow processor over there, I'm going to come to you in just a minute, so be ready with what you want to do. I hate this because when you let that fast processor go, one, it's likely that they don't have the details like firmly in their minds, so they're gonna mess up or you're gonna have to re-explain things. And two, you're giving more new information. As the fast processing player is going through their actions, the slow processor now has to process that information as well. So it actually doesn't give them any extra time to wrap their brains around what is going on. A better way to do this, if you're someone who likes to do basically role play initiative, which is step by step, what do you do, what do you do, what do you do, which I do recommend because it's a great way to keep everyone involved because everyone knows that they're going to get a turn to do what their character would like. Instead, a strategy that I would implement would be writing down your actions. So you describe a room. They walk into the tavern. You describe the different NPCs in the different areas. You describe the layout of the room. You provide them with a visual. And then you say, I would like everyone to write down the actions that they would like to take in this tavern in the order they would like to take them. Then give everyone time to sit and think and look at the map, talk with one another to decide who wants to do what action, write down their actions, and then go step by step. One person performs an action, next person, next person. This is a much better way to provide wait time because everyone is at the same point. Everyone is processing the same information. You can get some group feedback on things that you aren't clear about so that the DM doesn't have to answer all of the questions. And it provides also another opportunity for characters to interact with one another. That's a much better way to provide wait time and still have the individual actions happen. Another strategy for providing wait time that I very much like is simply to remove yourself from the situation. Occasionally, if you have a big boss battle and you have the room set up, you have your boss there, maybe you just conveniently need to go to the bathroom. Or maybe you need to refill your drink. Or you can say something like, okay guys, there's a lot that I need to have pulled up for this encounter, so if you could just give me a few minutes while I pull this stuff up, that would be great. This is an awesome way if your players are super against you trying to make them do things because there are those people in the world. This is a great way to provide wait time without them knowing that that's what you're doing. You simply remove yourself from that situation. Those fast processing players cannot tell you what they want to do because you're not there. And those slow processors have the time to look over your visuals and the information that you gave them and come up with a plan. It's an excellent way to provide secret wait time. Now, there might be those times that you have super processors. I'm sure every one of you has at least one of these in the party. They are already 5 steps ahead of you and ready to go, trying to interrupt you as you're describing things for their players' actions. You say one word and their player's like, I want to engage with that. For those players, in order to give them and everyone else wait time, you're going to need some other strategies. Perhaps it could be that you have a visual signal for where you, as the DM, are narrating and no one else should be interrupting. And when that visual signal comes down, that's when players can tell you what their characters want to do. Another great thing for those super processors is to give them a player journal and to tell them, every time you want your character to do an action, I need you to write it down. Write down every action that you want your player to take in every situation that we're in, and then go through and decide what's most important to your player. Mark out everything that maybe your player wouldn't end up doing or you decide you don't want to do after I finish describing the room. But that way you have your thoughts that are going super, super fast. You have your thoughts down on paper so you're not afraid that you're going to lose them. And then you can kind of organize and figure out what you want to do for when I finish sharing what's going on in this environment. That's an excellent way to help those super fast processors, because the problem with them is they have all these thoughts and they don't stay. And so they've learned if they don't just say them, they might forget them. So have them write them down, or if you're in the middle of a scene and you're having a lot of back and forth from your players, one of my favorite strategies is to pin it. If you have a thought or an action that you want to do, pin it. The physical action of moving your finger to your nose pins your thought so that it won't go away or escape. And it also is a visual cue for me as the teacher or DM that you have something that you want to add. So as soon as I'm finished doing what I'm doing, the direction and attention goes to you who has a pinned thought. And then you can say it and you won't lose it. It's right here on the tip of your nose. You won't lose it. Okay, so if you got a super processor, maybe teach them the pin it method. And finally, when it comes to wait time, the last thing you need to know is how to identify an overwhelmed slow processor. This actually looks like a whole bunch of those things that DMs complain about all the time and are like, oh, I have the worst player. They're always on their phone or blah, blah, blah. Occasionally, what you have is a slow processor that you are not giving them time to process your information, therefore they're getting overwhelmed. And that can look like a few things. The first thing that an overwhelmed processor can look like is compliance. So this is that player who just kind of shuts down, who doesn't volunteer anything, whose PC doesn't do anything, and they say things like, I just go along with the party. Yeah, whatever they want to do, I'll follow them. That is an overwhelmed processor, not a player that doesn't care. They can't keep up with the amount of information you're giving them, so they just follow along with those that can. Another thing that an overwhelmed processor can look like is disengaged. So if they can't keep up with the information, they might get frustrated and disengage from the situation entirely. Be on their phone, be looking at something else, maybe even poring over their character sheet so that when they finally have an opportunity, they know what to do, right? That is what an overwhelmed processor looks like. So you kind of have these two spectrums and anything in between. They could start engaging in side conversations, mostly because they're asking questions. They don't understand what's happening, but you as the DM see this as them ignoring you or disrupting the table, when really they're just trying to figure out what's going on. And the last piece of advice that I'm going to leave you with is, please, I'm begging you, do not use timers. This is really concerning for me because I see all over the place. You want to speed up combat? Put a timer. You want to do whatever? Put a timer. Don't do it, please. Timers are the absolute nightmare of a slow processor because you're basically telling my brain that it has to go faster when it's only set at one speed. You're not going to get a slow processor to process faster by giving them a time limit. You're going to get them to shut down, you're going to get them to panic or be frustrated, and then they're going to be overwhelmed, and it's not going to be a fun experience for anyone. So please stop using timers. I know someone's going to yell at me for that, but I don't care. Stop. I'm a slow processor, and I had to do soapbox. When I was a kid, first of all, I have dyslexia. Second of all, I'm a slow processor. My brain screwed up, okay? I'm terrible at math, and my math teacher used to do those timed math quizzes. Do you know the ones I'm talking about with the timetables? I knew my timetables, but you know what I didn't know as soon as the timer started? My timetables. It makes all the information go away because you panic, okay? It's brain science. You can't access the cool stuff when you're panicking, okay? Maybe we'll talk about that on another one. But stop using timers. DMing and teaching are actually very similar. You're providing new information that you want someone to engage with, manipulate, and respond to. And they use a lot of the same brain science. There's so much that we DMs can learn from pedagogy. And I'm going to bring you some more tips and tricks of using pedagogy at your table in the future. And I hope that it gives your game advantage. Until next time, my friends, Halfling Hannah here, signing out. Also, look at all these beautiful patrons. All these people sponsored this video. Aren't you grateful for them? You should be. They're amazing. And you could be one too. Head on over to Patreon and support Halfling Hobbies.